Hey guys, what's up? It's Wednesday, May 25th. I'm Steve Repsold, this is Slurve, and I am attempting to bring you some cash game cornerstones for MLB. But the truth of the matter is, my best recommendation would be not to play cash tonight. The night slate is not great. The early slate, which you missed, was a little bit better, but honestly, the weather concerns there put me off in general too. So it's not really a great cash slate. That being said, rather than just end the video here, I will give you my best options for those of you who want to play. And I would highly recommend against 50-50s and double ups and stuff. Get into head-to-head. Treat this more like GPP and focus more on players' upside a little bit. So that being said, the one guy that I feel almost safe about it, pitcher Iwakuma against Oakland, 7.5 on DK, 8.6 on FanDuel. The good news about today is you're going to have money to spend on bats. That's not going to be a problem. For a second guy, it gets really tough on TK, but I think I like Junior Guerra versus Atlanta. He's 7.4 on DK, which is pretty pricey. I mean, just compared to Iwakuma there, but it works. 7.2 on FanDuel. I expect him to be pretty popular going against Atlanta. He's had some good games. I kind of expect some regression there, but even some regression would be fine, and there's just nowhere else to go. And then the riskiest option, but probably my favorite overall, and I'll definitely have some in GPP, Stephen Wright against Colorado. They don't really hit the knuckleball all that well, and they strike out a lot versus it, the more important part. And nobody is going to be on him at 8.8 on DK and 9.5 on FanDuel. So it's a fine differentiation play for you. At catcher, I love Beef Castillo versus Locke. He is my lock so far today from looking at it to go yard. I won't be having a daily Dong Finder video today because we're having an expert chat at 5 p.m. Eastern. I'll be talking about my Dong Finder picks on there, as well as putting some of the best ones up on Twitter and in the chat room, so be checking that out. But from my early research, Castillo is my guy. 3.6 on DK is definitely the pricey option there. Like I said, no problem paying up for bats. 3.1 on FanDuel. If you want a bargain option, I like going back to this Colorado and Boston game and getting Ryan Hanigan against Bettis. I think he hit a triple yesterday. It was pretty impressive. Maybe that was the other guy. I think that was the other guy, Vasquez. Whoever gets in at catcher, it looks like Hanigan today. Vasquez is a little bit more expensive. Hanigan's 2.4 on DK, 2.3 on FanDuel. I never hate punting catcher, so that's a good way to do it. And then Jason Castro kind of rounds it out as a mid-tier option against Tyler Wilson, who not a whole lot of record to him there, but I don't think he's anything to fear. 3.4 on DK, 3.0 on FanDuel, fits right in there in the middle. You might have noticed the Red Sox have been scoring a lot of runs lately, and that keeps my plays there. I like David Ortiz. I mean, who doesn't? Had 4 RBIs yesterday. Bettis, not a good pitcher. 5.1 on DK. He's priced appropriately. 4.4 on FanDuel. Just seems way too cheap to me. For a more mid-tier option that I think is underpriced on both sites, but especially on DraftKings, Chris Davis against Colin McHugh. He's 4.1 on DK, 3.8 on FanDuel. And for your cheap option, I like Justin Bour against Matt Andriese. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. 3.7 on DK, 3.3 on FanDuel. I like his price on DK a lot better there. I expect Andriese to be popular too, especially with game log watchers because he's had some pretty good ones, but I expect some regression there, to be honest. I don't think he can keep up to what he's been doing, and I think a lefty in Justin Bour is a good guy to take advantage of that. Once again, at second, I'm going to start with Boston. Pedroia against Bettis, 4.1 on DK, 3.8 on FanDuel. Pedroia having something of a renaissance season. That seems like too cheap a price for me on either site, but especially on DK. I also like Utley against Dan Straley, who I think is actually really improving, and I kind of like him as a GPP play today. He's got a lot of strikeout upside. But that being said, Utley leading off, he's 3.7, nice bargain option on DK. 3.0, real bargain basement option, really great price on FanDuel. Leading off is just a great spot for any cash games. And Utley, he has some upside in Yes, some upside. But if you're looking for upside, go no further than Robinson Cano against Zach Neal, who I believe is making his first MLB start. So Mr. Cano will probably like to welcome him to the league. He's way expensive, 5.3 on DK. I mean, even with the pitchers, you can't get in too many of these guys. But he's 4.3 on FanDuel. Again, just a much more reasonable price there, and a great chance to welcome Mr. Neal into the big leagues in proper fashion. Third base's pricing between sites is kind of wacky, so kind of different picks for each site there. On DK, I love Nolan Arenado. Stephen Wright throws the ball pretty slowly, and Arenado crushes guys who throw the ball kind of slowly. I was doing some nice digging into Wright earlier. It was pretty fun. So hopefully he can take advantage of that in the nice park at Fenway and take that for a dong. 4.3 on DK, 4.2 on FanDuel. Yeah, I don't hate him on FanDuel, but meh. Rutledge, again, if he makes the lineup, there's plenty of uncertainty there in Boston with Hanley getting his toe hit by a pitch and blah, blah, blah. But that's a good cheap way at 2.4 on DK to get exposure to that Boston game if he is in the lineup. And third base is not overly strong anyway. I also like Kang against Ruby De La Rosa, who's been surprisingly good this year. And normally, he's way better against righties than lefties, career-wise. This season, he's actually better against lefties and worse against righties. I don't know which to believe there, so I'm throwing both out there for you. I really dislike Ruby, and I target him probably a little too much. So bear that in mind when making your decisions on this. He's 3.4 on DK, 3.5 on FanDuel. It's just kind of like out of consideration for me. When we got guys like Jimmy Paredes going up against Ivan Nova for 2.6, I much prefer the upside there at that price for sure. Let you get some more of those high 4 and 5K guys. Actually, I don't even know if there is anyone 5K on FanDuel, but high 4K guys in there. Or if you're saving at other positions, Evan Longoria gets Nicolino. He's something silly, 5K, maybe even more on DK. He's only 4.0 on FanDuel. Love that price. Love his chance to have a good game against Nicolino. Jumping back to Josh Rutledge for a second, he's a shortstop on FanDuel and 2.3 there, so that's a fine way to punt on FanDuel if you're doing that. On DK especially, I love Corey Seager. No, I was going to say Kyle Seager, but no, not Kyle Seager. I mean, I don't mind Kyle Seager, if I'm being honest, but I really like Corey Seager against Straley. 4.3 on DK is kind of a premium option there. 4.1 on FanDuel. On FanDuel, I would much rather go with Manny Machado against McHugh, who kind of broke out of his slump yesterday with just a massive, massive homer. Go look up the highlight for that. I mean, it was like almost out of the stadium. 3.7 on DK, 4.5 on, 3.7 on FanDuel, 4.5 on DK. Don't hate him on either site, but obviously the FanDuel price is just fantastic. And then on DK, if you need a bargain, I like Cozart going up against Kazmir. Kazmir will probably be very chalky tonight, but I am not team Kazmir like ever. So 3.5 on DK, Cozart 3.9 on FanDuel. Absolutely forget him there. He's more than Machado. FanDuel, call me. Let's talk pricing. Yeah, Cozart, cheap guy on DK. FanDuel, work on your pricing. Starting off expensive in the outfield, I like Jose Bautista against Nova, and he is really expensive on DK, 5.4, I think the most expensive of the guys I've recommended. He's only 4.6 on DK, on FanDuel. It's probably the most expensive of the guys I've recommended there too, but I think he has some of the highest upside. Also, I like the other side of this matchup with Gardner and Beltran. Versus Estrada, who's been a pretty darn good pitcher, actually. But I like their pricing, especially on FanDuel. Gardner is 3.4. He's 4.0 on DK, much, much less interested there. Beltran is 3.8 on DK, only 3.5 on FanDuel. It's more equivalent pricing, but I still like his price better on DK. I don't hate both of them on FanDuel, though. I think Yankees will be a little bit under-owned, maybe. And then a guy that I love, especially at DK at this price, losing my place, Charlie Blackmon. He was my lock from yesterday's Dong Finder video, and he donged. I was very happy to see that. I hope you guys watched the Dong Finder video and played him yesterday. I know several people have told me, oh, I watched the Dong Finder video, but I kind of laughed when you said Charlie Blackmon was your lock, but I guess I should have listened, which feels great. But I mean, I didn't get everybody, so I understand if you didn't go with Blackmon. But I like him again today against Wright. He's also a guy that hits the slow pitch kind of well. 3.9 on DKs, 4.0 on FanDuel. Much less interested there. Especially when you got guys like Leonis Martin. Nobody can stop Leonis Martin. I mean, what is up with this dude? He's really good. And Seattle finally noticed and moved him out of the 9th spot and into the leadoff. And he's been doing great there, too. He hasn't slowed him down any. He gets Neal, too, so hopefully he'll join Cano in wishing him a warm welcome. 4.2 on DK, 3.8 on FanDuel, right there in the equivalent area. Like him on both sites. But once again, to wrap up, it's not a good night for cash. I would limit my exposure to head-to-heads or maybe some leagues in there. I would go heavier on GPP than you normally do, maybe, and lighter on cash or no cash. I don't think I'll be playing much cash. Probably a few head-to-heads in there, but that'll probably be it. Good luck to all of you guys. Come back 5 p.m. We got the expert chat where me, Max, Adam will get on there live, and Eric will work the chat room and toss us the questions and work us through the slate, and we will make some damn good lineups out of it and hopefully win all the money tonight. Good luck, guys. Slurve.com. Come on by.